Dallas real estate on YouTube is packed with helpful information. We're talking model home tours, market updates, neighborhood tours. It seems like a gold mine of free advice. But what if I told you some of it is a trap? There are videos out there that will mislead you, waste your time, or even worse, cost you thousands of dollars. So in this video, I'm exposing the biggest Dallas scams on YouTube so you don't fall for them. So let's just say you're sitting down to watch videos about Dallas and you find a video all about an exciting resort community right here in Dallas. Well, that grabs your attention, right? And it brings you to the first real scam. And I should say this, okay. I looked up scam in the Oxford Dictionary, and the definition is a clever and dishonest plan for making money. So scam may be a strong word here. It would probably be more accurate to say extremely misleading. But extremely misleading can still cost you thousands of dollars, and that's the risk here. So anyway, you see this video about a resort community and you get drawn in because it sounds amazing. But here's your problem. It's when a YouTuber hypes up a community's amenities, but all those gorgeous amenities don't actually exist. And here's your dead giveaway here. The fact that they only use stock footage from the builder's website. In fact, anytime you're watching a housing video and it only has stock footage, that should be an immediate red flag for you. Now, don't get confused. Many times these YouTubers will actually be on site and get some real footage of the community, but you'll notice they don't show you actual footage of the amenities because there aren't any amenities to get footage of. And when I see these videos, all right, it drives me crazy because I know these communities and I know these amenities have already been promised to buyers for years. And many times construction still hasn't even started on them. So if you start to hear the YouTuber talk about the area as being so amazing, you know, that it's resort style living, you may want to put your guard up before you get your hopes up, and definitely before money changes hands. Sometimes the YouTuber may also present themselves as a realtor who's ahead of the pack because they have this intel, you know, before anyone else does. But here's the thing, they don't tell you the history, right? Because let's face it, that part isn't all that interesting, right? It doesn't have all of the hype and pizzazz, so they just kind of leave that part out. Now, you have to know that in some of these communities, okay, people who were misled and bought into them are seriously ticked. All right, and for good reason, because they've lived there for years, looking at the field that was supposed to be a lagoon. And don't just, take my word for it, okay? I want to give you some examples. Now, what I want you to keep in mind here is I'm not saying that the builder's never going to come through on their promise, right? I can't read their minds. I don't know what their business plans are. But I do want you to be the informed and empowered buyer who has the complete picture before making a commitment or putting money down. All right, that's always my goal here, right? I want you to be fully informed, all right? And that is the biggest issue with these YouTube scams. They don't provide all of the information for you, the buyer. And I'm not saying it's intentional. It's just not all that flashy, right? And it requires a lot more research. So why would they put that in their videos, right? They provide the hype and the excitement without giving you the real picture of what's going on, and more accurately, what isn't. So let's start off by talking about Megatel communities. Now, Megatel has a lot going on in Dallas, and they've made a whole lot of promises, all right? They have an entire section on their website called Megatel Lagoon Communities. And in this section, they mention 6 communities: Anna Capri in Anna, Bellagio in Forney, Santorini in Seagoville, Sicily in Princeton, Soho Square in Dallas, and Venetian in Salina. But what is actually going on in these communities right now? Well, we decided to check out a few of them. When I looked up Anna Capri in Anna, the first thing we noticed was a cute entrance with a beachy feel and lots of stock photos. But when we actually went to Anna Capri, all right, we saw a completely different story. All right, this is what we saw, all right? Fields. Lots and lots of fields. So noticeably absent were any signs of a water slide tower, or a huge lagoon or a bowling alley. Next, we decided to check out Google reviews, and they are not pretty. The overall Google rating is 3.1 stars. The two most recent reviews were 1-star ratings. There are 3 different ratings that are a year old of their deposit being taken and no construction on their home even being started until after over a full year. All right, here's an example. Took the money of 5% and promised to deliver by July, and yet no development. Now, this review was published last winter, so over 6 months past July. Now, here are some more examples. Took my money, 5%, 16 months, back failed to deliver my home, not yet started. And another one, they took money and no response from 1 year. Very poor management. So can you imagine giving a full 5% deposit, waiting over a year, and construction not even being started? What if you had your current home up on the market and got a buyer? Okay, your whole timeline would be wrecked. So next, I ran a Google search on Anacapri and found numerous articles about it going back as early as 2021. The article I found states a $1 billion lagoon-anchored residential community is under construction in North Texas. Another one tells the same story. Construction begins on $1 billion lagoon community in Anna, Texas. And again, work begins on $1 billion lagoon community in Anna. So big money titles trying to grab everyone's attention. But then this article was written back in April of 2024, and I don't see any of that $1 billion lagoon yet. The article describes how from a 60-foot tall water slide tower to a huge lagoon ringed by a white sand beach, Megatel Homes Anacapri development is slated to have amenities galore. If you've got a surfboard, wax it up. The community will even have a flow rider wave pool for standing wave surfing. It continues saying that Dallas-based Megatel Homes broke ground earlier this month on its $1 billion Anacapri development in Anna. So you are led to believe that this amazing lagoon is being built right now. And sure enough, I also found YouTube videos about Anacapri. One from 10 months ago described how this new construction community is absolutely insane. You have a massive entertainment district complete with a crystal clear lagoon, white sandy beaches, a bowling alley, arcade, restaurant, and more. So do you see how that makes it sound like it's already there? But again, what did we see when we went to Anacapri? All right, well, we saw a very nice entrance and lots of fields. Next up, we checked out Venetian in Salina. A Google search quickly shows numerous zoomed out stock photos of a massive lagoon, a children's splash pad, cabanas, a flow rider, and several water park sized slides. What I couldn't find, on their website at least, was any information on how the lagoon is actually supposed to be, other than like a vague sentence about a surf simulator and swim up bar. So what did we find when we went out to the Venetian? Well, once again, we found welcoming signs, a beachy feel, and then nothing but fields. I mean, oh, so many fields where buyers expected a lagoon to be, but instead they have a whole lot of nothing. When I took a look at their Google reviews, the first thing I saw was a total rating of 3.2 stars, immediately followed by a 1-star review from 1 month ago, starting out with stay away. The next several reviews are also 1 star, and they all tell a similar story. Residents seem mostly upset about the lack of quality in their new homes and issues getting things fixed. However, they all can't help but mention the total absence of the beautiful lagoon or any other amenities for that matter. Like one reviewer states that they were also promised a 3-acre lagoon pool to be open by the summer of 2024, and ground has not even been broken yet. Articles about this new $450 million community started blowing up the web back at the end of 2020. And today, despite the total lack of amenities and the promised Grand Lagoon, I found no less than 10 YouTube videos, one which was as recent as 2 weeks ago. They described the Venetian as lagoon living at its finest. Your perfect staycation combines residential living with resort-style amenities and entertainment. Another video describes the man-made lagoon and surf simulator. Immerse yourself in the tranquility of our exclusive man-made lagoon, or ride the waves on our state-of-the-art surf simulator. Do you see what's missing here? No one mentions the low Google ratings or how long it's been since a lagoon was promised. They don't even mention that there is no lagoon, right? I mean, that information doesn't really sell, right? It isn't exciting and it doesn't get you all hyped up about buying in Dallas. These misleading videos aren't unique to Megatel's lagoon communities either. Sapphire Bay is yet another example with a completely different situation. It's located in Rowlett. And when we headed out there, we saw much of the same. All right, Sapphire Bay is huge, and at least we saw some construction vehicles this time. But in terms of a huge lagoon, a lazy river, or a surf park, all right, there's nothing there. And no matter what you see on YouTube videos, all right, I'm telling you, you have a little bit of development, a lot of fields, and not much of anything else. Now, I have to tell you, Sapphire Bay has had a very colorful history of changing ownership numerous times, going through legal battles, and having a catastrophic fire. In fact, in her article, All That Glitters Is Not Sapphire, Sandra Barnage describes how the project first started in 2015 with Donahue Development at the helm, partnering with the city of Rowlett. Around 2018, things weren't going so great, and things shift now to be spearheaded by Bayside Land Partners. In 2019, Rowlett brings in a new development team, the Sapphire Bay Land Development. They even go so far as to have a groundbreaking ceremony. By 2023, an apartment tower known as The View finally goes under construction, only to catch fire at the end of 2023. So there's just a lot going on and not going on when it comes to Sapphire Bay. Don't expect to hear about any of the history in the videos though. What you will see is more stock footage and anything to get viewers hyped up about it, okay? Because that's what sells. That's what makes you think, you know, that the YouTuber making the video is a knowledgeable expert in the area. But you need to know they're not giving you the complete story. And this kind of thing becomes really dangerous for the relocating buyer who can't just drive by to see it for themselves. And speaking of out-of-towners, another thing you should know is that some Dallas YouTubers aren't from Texas. All right, they pose as local realtors, but they actually know very little about the market. There are YouTubers who have multiple YouTube channels across multiple states. Like, I literally know of one YouTuber who has channels in Canada, as well as the US, as well as Dallas. Now, that may sound crazy to you, but to them, it's just a business model. Like, if one channel is profitable, imagine how much more profitable 10 or even 20 YouTube channels will be. It's not so much that there's anything wrong with having multiple channels. All right, it's the misrepresentation. It's them describing themselves as experienced in the area when they're no more experienced with Dallas than a relocating buyer would be. I mean, they've never even lived in Dallas. What I'm not talking about here is your general topic YouTubers who don't mention a specific area, right? They're just gonna tell you that over the years they've met agents all over and that they can provide referrals. Well, they're not misleading you. So what I'm talking about here is a YouTuber who presents himself as an expert and local to the area and may not even live in the same state. And here's your big issue. Not only does this person not live in Texas, he's not a licensed realtor in Texas either, so he doesn't even know the ins and outs of Texas real estate law. So say you really connect with this realtor, they've earned your trust and you want to work with them. Well, you might be wondering what's going to happen when you reach out to them if they're not local. Well, most likely they're going to refer you to a local agent they have a referral deal with. Now, for some of you, you might be fine with that. All right, it might be that you trust their judgment, but ultimately you have to realize you'll be working solo with an agent you've never met. You essentially have one of four models you're going to work with from any YouTubing realtor. There's the one-man show, who's operating a channel and taking care of his clients himself. Now, you might think this is what you really want, since this is the person you've bonded with, but what you need to know is that for me anyway, one video takes around 20 hours a week, and that's with 2 staff members helping me and an editor. So that leaves your average agent only 20 hours to meet all his clients' needs. So busyness and dropped communication can be a real problem without support staff. I mean, you could have the best agent on the planet with this model, but still end up with problems with accountability and high standards simply because they're only one person. And, realistically, there are only 24 hours in a day. Your second model is when the YouTuber is the broker. Now, in Texas, the broker is responsible for everything the agents do. So if you've ever heard the expression like the buck stops here, all right, that's what it means to be a broker. This is what we personally have with our brokerage. I'm the broker and I'm responsible for everything the agents do. So that means I'm monitoring all communication, and I'm working right alongside my agents. So I'm going to make sure they do things exactly like I would because I'm the one who's responsible. Your third model is the team model, and this will be the most common model you'll see on YouTube. In this situation, you have a group of realtors who are typically going to work for the same broker, but not be the actual broker. And remember how I said, the buck stops with the broker? Well, in this situation, the broker isn't involved, all right? They're responsible, but they're not involved. So you're gonna know this is the model you're working with when you hear this person say, on their video, me and my team. Your big issue here is, again, with accountability and holding high standards, because the broker, okay, the one who is, ultimately responsible for everything, he isn't actively involved with the channel or the team. Your fourth model is when you have that YouTuber who isn't even from Texas and isn't even a licensed Texas realtor. All right, they're purporting to be from Dallas and that they know Dallas. But when you reach out to them, they're going to refer you to an agent that they are in no way legally affiliated with. And I hope you can see that this is the loosest and least secure accountability of all. If the YouTuber refers you to a local agent, that's where it ends for him. Like, he isn't responsible for that agent's actions. And not only is he not that agent's broker, he's not even in the same brokerage. Our chances are he may not even be licensed in Texas. So you're definitely going to have issues with accountability and high standards here. Once again, this isn't all that difficult to verify. So vet your realtor. Ask them the hard questions before signing an agreement with them. As ridiculous as it sounds, all right, and probably something you've never thought of, is that you have to actually ask them, do you live in Dallas? Are you a Texas realtor? I mean, sure, it's so easy to just assume that, but you can't, especially with YouTubers. Another scam or misrepresentation, if you will, is when a YouTuber falsely claims, like often you'll see it on their channel header, that they've been on TV or in the press to seem more experienced. And this one isn't all that difficult to verify either, all right? If they've truly been on TV or in the press, you're gonna be able to find that online. So simply do a quick Google search on the person's name under the news tab. And if they've truly been featured, you'll see those articles. Now, if it says your search didn't match any results, then you may see that as a clue to what type of person you're considering working with. Now, if they are lying, you have a decision to make as to whether that's a character trait you'd like to work with. If they're willing to lie in that way, what will it say about their representation? All right, those are decisions you will have to make. And why is this relevant? Well, because the most important thing you need in a realtor is realtor experience. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but it bears repeating. Knowing the area is important, but it isn't enough. All right, you need actual real knowledge and expertise, and we're talking years of it. So if you're falsely being given that impression through fake advertising, okay, that's a problem. But again, you have an easy solution in due diligence. Look for the articles. If they reference 8 different sources and not one of them shows up, all right, that's a statement. And like I mentioned earlier, any agent you're considering, you need to interview. All right, you need to make a qualifying list and walk through each of those questions. And by all means, if you choose to speak with that agent, ask them for links to the articles from those sources. Another big issue I'm seeing in the YouTube scene right now is videos about huge Dallas price cuts. The push there is that Dallas builders are having these huge discounts and you should act right now. Well, there is so much there to unpack that I made an entire separate video about it that you can watch right here. All right, so check it out and I'll see you there.